Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM20 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 8, Episode 5, and today we're in charge of Burnley Football Club for the first time. So if you don't know why we're here, you need to get back in the eye above, catch up with the last two episodes, catch up with the saga that's been unfolding that has resulted in us taking charge of Burnley. A side further down the Championship than the Salford side we left, 13 points behind in fact this early on. But we met the squad in the last episode and we are feeling very confident. We've got some brilliant young players here, some brilliant homegrown players too, a couple of experienced internationals. Everything looking like Burnley should be much further up the table. So I've gone and set up my tactic off camera, and as promised we're back for our first two games today. So away to Bristol City, who are also struggling, and then away to Luton Town, who are in mid-table. So if we win these two games, we could be above both of the sides and back up in the hunt for the playoffs. And that's how quickly it could change here with Burnley. So it's all about hitting the ground running. Let's have a look at the dynamic screen to see what the lads think of us. An average managerial support, so we haven't got to try and win them over like we did at Charlton, like we did at Scunthorpe. We start immediately in a decent place. There's good team cohesion. There's a good dressing room atmosphere. Everything seems to be going pretty well off the pitch, especially considering the club have been in poor form. I mean, they have won their last two games when the caretaker's been in charge, but before that, obviously they had a woeful start to the season. In fact, they only won their first game, and then they lost continuously. So I can understand why they got rid of their manager. I can't quite understand why they didn't stick with Jody Morris, because he won both of his caretaker games, but it means the lads are in decent spirits into this one. We've just got one injury at left back to our first choice, but other than that we've got a pretty strong side and we're feeling fairly confident. So we'll go and head into those two games in a minute and introduce our new tactic. But firstly, a massive thank you to everyone who continues to follow the series. I really do appreciate your support. As I mentioned, there are the links to the latest episodes in the eye above and all of my other playlists and series too. If you're looking forward to this one and us taking charge of Burnley for the first time, please put a thumbs up on the video. It makes such a difference and I really do appreciate it. We've got two long-term stories, of course. This one and our one with Dorking Wanderers, a one-club story. Yesterday and tomorrow are two of the biggest episodes in that series, so please make sure you go back and check that one out too. It was a mesmerising moment for the club. And in addition to that, of course, we've got our two new series on Sundays. So last weekend we had the first edition of our FM20 network career, Barnet v Chesterfield, a non-league special against a co-host over a season. So if you didn't see that, please do go back and check it out. But a massive thank you to everyone who has. The support for it's been incredible. And then the same for our stadium review series every Sunday at 4:30. We're two episodes in, talking about the grounds we visited in our quest to do the 92. Again, alongside a regular co-host in that one. And a massive thanks to everyone that supported the series so far. I really do appreciate it greatly. But today we're focusing on Burnley, and there's a very big reason for that. We're at a new club. We've got a chance to get them out of trouble. In theory, keeping this Burnley side up should be the easiest job we've ever had in any series as a head coach. We've joined them just outside the relegation zone. They're back in good form before we've even got here. And they've got an incredible squad for the bottom half of the Championship. So this should be easy in theory. I do want to bring your attention to one other bit of news very quickly though. Our chairman's already working on a director of football, and that man is Neil Dewsnip. He's also working on an under-18s physio as well. But we're trying to nick the director of football from Plymouth. He's got brilliant stats. He is 61, so not really a long-term replacement. But this would very much be a good one in my book. Probably about 3 or 4 attribute points better at everything than Chris Casper. So 3 or 4 better for judging ability and potential, and then more crucially 4 better for negotiating. So 11, not the best stat in the world, but certainly much better. Got a better football understanding as well, so should sign players that suit our tactic and things like that. So I'm very hopeful for what's going on at Burnley here. And I've also noticed that a few of the clauses have been sold, the transfer ones. There were some sell-on fees for some players, and we've now got 5.5 million. So the new director of football's going to have a lovely day there. There's offers in for Asmoon. I'm not sure why they haven't been dealt with because we've set them to do everything. But once the new director of football comes in, hopefully he'll do that. But today, the focus is entirely on the pitch. So our first fixture is away at Bristol City, who are heavy favourites to win it. They've got 6 players out injured, whereas we've just got the one. Jonathan Woodgate, former Middlesbrough manager in charge. Former Galactico in the 2000s, of course. And Ashton Gate has got 16,000 people in. But this is what we've gone for. Don't forget, we've got to play some direct football. We've got to be solid defensively as well. So I'm going with a positive mentality, but I'm trying to be defensively astute as well. What that means is we've got a fairly solid squad. So let me just make sure I've got everyone on the best duties. Where's Mayhas there? Was he a ball-playing defender? He wasn't, apparently. But he is electric quick, so we can set him to cover. But we'll leave it defensive for now. We'll get him working in our favourite role. We've got one slight knock in terms of condition, and that's Simpson as centre-half, but I've set him to be rested after this game. And this is the formation and team we've gone for. So it's Summerskill in goal. He's going to learn to be a sweeper keeper. We've got him working on that in training. Jaroszynski covering for the injured Cobble at left back. Darnell Furlong as an attacking fullback on the right. We've got Simpson and Mayhas at centre-half. Shackleton in the deep line playmaker with Conor Gallagher as a box-to-box. Manu Garcia in attacking midfield. Tavares cutting in off the right as an inverted forward. And then we've got Edmonds playing as a winger on the left. He's got a great long shot rating. And for every set piece, I've got him on the edge of the box. So just make sure you keep an eye out for that, because I've got a feeling he's going to score some screamers. And then Balogun's up front on his own. There is just one problem with this team though. No one can head the football. We've got, and this is Burnley Football Club. From Sean Dyche's era, just a few years later, we've got a team where no one can really head the ball. Shackleton's awful at it. Gallagher's poor. The two centre-halves are average. Furlong's okay. Of course, the left-back will make a difference. But otherwise, we could probably do with one or two bigger lads, more physical lads. Hopefully we'll get that in January, whether it be a striker, a winger replacing Tavares, someone like that. But otherwise, as you can see, going forward, we've got a brilliant team. Defensively, we're solid enough. And I've got a feeling this is going to be a good spell for us. So let's go and get into it and find out if we're right. Of course, as we do so, let me know down in the comments where you think we're going to finish, how you think we're going to get on in these two games importantly as well, and what you think of the tactic I've set up. It's basically the same as Dorking. It's quite similar to what we would have done anyway. It's just Edmonds can't play further forward, so that's why we've put him there. But we've got him on an attacking duty, so he should get a bit further forward. And I guess the only way to see if it works or not is to play it here against Bristol City. So we're going to ask him to do it for the fans, just as Jody Morris recommends. And in we go to the first half. Our debut as Burnley Football Club's manager. Here we go then, 10 minutes gone nearly, and Furlong's got a free kick on the right. Shackleton playing inside to Herry, that's Tavares I presume, into Manu Garcia. Through ball to Balogun, 1-on-1. Oh, it's in under the keeper. He's got a slight knock and he didn't get enough of a hand on it. And that's what happens when you play an injured keeper. But Balogun within 10 minutes gets his first goal for me. And things looking very good straight away with Burnley. Having said that, it's De Silva with a free kick for Bristol City. Straight back into it. Down for Carrillo, off the line by Simpson. Balogun fouled again there. Is that going to be a red? It's a push, but there was 1-on-1 there. Andy Madley just giving him a lecture. Probably a little bit generous. But with 15 gone, we're winning 1-0. And things looking okay here so far. Throwing on the right for Bristol City though. We've got a little bit of defending to do. Into the box. Simpson heads away again. Flicked on by Manu Garcia. And this is where I worry. Teams getting it wide and getting it in the box. Because we haven't quite got that astuteness defensively. Particularly in the air. And now as I say that, they've slidden in and got one on the floor. Dadazov scores it. Mayhas not really marking well there at all. Great play down the right. As we mentioned before, our weakest position probably is the left back. Jaroszynski's a backup player. He's an average player. The rest of them very good. But with half an hour gone, it's been an even game. It's 1-1. And it's not a disaster, to be honest. We've just got to hope we can nick one on the break. But again, it's Bristol City coming forward. De Silva in, Dadazov scores. And we're behind after playing pretty well. And again, it's that aerial threat. We've got no one who can defend in the air. I was looking when we were setting up the defensive corners and just thinking we're going to get absolutely skinned here. And it has been the case, unfortunately. So I'm going to drop to a balanced mentality just to try and get back into it second half, as Bristol City have been pretty dominant. And at half-time, it's 2-1 to the home side, and Jody Morris wants us to get aggressive. So we're going to ask the lads for much, much more. Most of them fired up, and we've got an immediate corner. Tavares in, Simpson there, off the line by Furlong. I thought he was going to get blown for offside, but he doesn't. It's 2-2. Furlong scores, Simpson flicked it on, and we're back on level terms here at Ashton Gate. We're back almost immediately again. Bristol City with a throw-in deep in their defensive area, and it's a long hoof downfield. Dadazov, the man who scored 2 goals, and he looks threatening again here. Back to Limnios. Couple of names I can't pronounce in there, so apologies if I'm offending anyone. Proctor goes long, but headed away. Here's Shackleton. Jaroszynski, come on, make it work from here. We're playing slightly more direct. We're not trying to play short football, but the lads seem to want to do it, and we've been caught. This is why we didn't want to do it. If we look at the instructions, we're playing standard. We're not asking for short football, so why on earth are they playing it that way? De Silva picks it up at left back. Into Vine, a long ball forward. Simpson wins one in the air, but doesn't really get anything on it. Dadazov shoots just wide. And we're going to actually go for a slightly higher tempo here, as we're getting caught on possession in our own area. But 5 minutes into the second half, we're drawing 2-2. I'm not exactly devastated with how we're doing, and another point on the board in this relegation battle, which I think we're going to get out of pretty quickly. 20 minutes to go then, it seems to have calmed down quite a lot. We've got some poor ratings here. Tavares is nervous and he's having a poor game, so Jamie Higgins is going to come on. I'm not actually sure where he's best out of the two roles. He wants to be a winger on attack further forward. Can he do the same in midfield? He can, so we're going to have two wingers on attack there. Darnell Furlong's going to drop to a support duty, just so we make sure he's level there. Mayhass as a covering defender, it's not really been our problem, has it? And then Shackleton's had a poor game, as has Gallagher, as has Edmonds over on the left, who's not quite fit. So we've got a lot of thinking to do here. I'm going to bring on Campbell in central midfield for Gallagher, or is it going to be for Shackleton? We've got to think about the weekend's games here as well. Gallagher's only a box-to-box midfielder, and Campbell can't really be a playmaker. But as it stands, I think that's our only option. Central midfielder on defend. There we go. Problem solved. Back into the game. 2 changes made. Let's see if we can nick a winner somewhere. Right, just over 10 to go. Edmonds is knackered on the left. Basagog is a natural replacement. I think he prefers to play further forward. So do you know what? We're going to see this highlight out and then I'm going to make that change. Fingers crossed we won't be behind after it. Pierotti here. Finds Barkett the right back. Bristol City still have more of those highlights, and look at that space out wide. De Silva shoots just wide. The lad's just parted like the Red Sea, let him straight through. No idea what's happened there. We're not playing with a narrower defensive line, so we should have certainly been out to it. But we're going to push these wingers forwards. Both of them like to be wingers on attack, and I think we've got a gamble. In fact, Basagog likes to be an inside forward. So let's go for exactly what we do at Dorking and see if we can produce a special moment. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go, and Balogun's got a free kick. He's got a brilliant rating. It's a dangerous position. Oh, it's a great save. What a save by the injured keeper for City. It's behind for a corner, but Balogun, my word, he's on the corner duty as well. He can't head the ball, so there's no point in being in the box, and he's going to put this corner in. To the back post, headed away. We've got no threat in the air whatsoever. Manu picks the ball up. I say we did score from a corner, didn't we? De Silva makes the challenge. It's out for a throw, and it looks like this is going to peter out into a draw. The 5 minutes of stoppage time are up. It is Bristol City 2, Burnley 2. A decent result. It's good to get a result in our first game. Dadazov beat us with a brace there. He's a brilliant striker and he can head the ball. Azerbaijan's greatest player there, and we just couldn't compete with him. Balogun got a goal. That's an important thing on the first day. We did score from one of the set pieces we worked tirelessly to set up. And we stay unbeaten for 3 games with Burnley and edge another point clearer to the rest of the league. Perhaps most importantly though, Salford lost their first game without us, a 2-0 defeat at Reading, and that makes me smile a little bit. So we'll go and deal with the press conference off camera, set up all the rest for training that we need to, and we'll be back in 4 days' time to play my beloved Luton Town, where hopefully they'll do us a little favour. Into game 2 then, hoping for a favour from my beloved Luton Town, but more importantly we've got news off the pitch. Mike Garlick has secured the signing of our new director of football from Plymouth, and that means he's now in charge of everything bar this. So I'm doing individual training, team selection, all of the media work, touchline instructions and team talks. That's it. Everything else is being done by the director of football or the head of youth development, or a few of them in terms of training by my assistant. So I try to have the focus on the individual training. The mentoring groups is a key thing for me. I've mentioned that in both series. But aside from that, we have now got the help we need. We also got that little physio in, but it's an under-18s one. He's not going to affect us too much. And we've now got to play Luton Town. I did find out a couple of interesting things between the games. Sunday Balogun, who scored the first goal for us, of course, he's been back up for most of the season. So they've not been playing their best striker, which is interesting enough. Also, we've got a bit of interesting news in terms of tactic. Because you were probably screaming at me during the last episode when I was asking why the boys were trying to play out from the back. And that's because I'd left play from defence on. So we've taken that off, we've gone for a higher tempo, and we're going to really try and get in behind teams now. So I'm going for exactly the same 11 because they performed really decently. And I'm hoping it'll make a difference for us. The lads that were injured are still injured. The substitutes bench will stay the same. And we're going to head straight into this game against Luton and hope that we can get a slightly better result. Here we go then. Luton matching us up with a 4-2-3-1. Quite a few recognisable names there actually. Is that Jason Cummings? We've had him there once before. Came on loan in our League One winning campaign last year. Made 2 or 3 good appearances. He is. He's playing up front for them. 10 grand a week. They've got Adam Lewis in centre midfield. Of course, a hero from Torquay last year. Probably one of the best players over the course of the series. They've got a couple of Spaniards. They've got Dan Burn at centre half. Lati Boudier. Where did we have him? We've definitely had him somewhere before. And then Josh Earl at left back and a few regens. Joe Rothwell attacking midfield. It's a decent little side they've managed to build there. But we're going to encourage the lads and get into the first half. And let's hope we can turn 1 point into 3 today. Early on, it's Adam Lewis with a free kick for Luton. Again, Summerskill brilliantly off his line to claim. We really struggled offensively in the air. We've mentioned it's a problem we're going to have to cope with till January. Hopefully having a left back from injury will help that in a month's time or so. But we're on the counter now. Brilliant goalkeeping and he set us away. Edmonds has lost it though we are putting pressure on them high up the pitch. Long ball forward from Luton. It finds Martin. Furlong loses out in the air and it falls for Rothwell. He's still coming forward. He's got 3 running off him, but instead goes back to the centre midfielder Victor. Holding role player, Worley with us well. Finds Lewis, lovely ball out to the right. We've seen that before from him. Into Cummins, it's off the bar. Simpson puts it out for a corner. How on earth did that not go in? And I mean, Jason Cummins not the best in the air, but still beating our 2 centre-halves. It really is an area for concern. But the ball's in, it's headed again. Luton win the header first time. Summerskill makes the save, but the home side on top early on here. 20 minutes gone, we've dropped to a more balanced mentality because obviously the positive not working out. Probably not something Burnley are used to really. We've just started to level up the shots, but Luton have been dominant throughout. And now they've got it at the back again here. They're playing lovely football. It's the Spanish style. It's stuck with them. Rob Simpson seems to be getting a yellow every game as well. I'm not sure why, because we've got the tackling on stay on feet. But here's Martin on the left wing for them. Delivers to Cummins. Furlong heads away. Only as far as Rothwell who puts it over. Luton Town missing again. Again, they've got that bug with the low attendance here. Just 3,000 or so. 2 of the stands not in function. But here's Balogun with a free kick to the back post. Earl heads off the line. Falls for Harry Tavares over on the left wing. Chance to deliver. Great ball in. Balogun's there. It's straight at the keeper. He had to score that. He just had to. It's a brilliant opportunity that's wasted. And unfortunately, it is 0-0 with 10 to the break. Charlton winning, and I can see players that I had still scoring all the goals. James Justin, a former Luton youth hero. And how is Salford getting on? That's the other thing I was looking out for. They're drawing 0-0 at Blackburn. So at the moment, we have managed to get on top. We're going to tell the lads we're disappointed again. Hopefully most of them fired up as it appears. And let's see if it makes a difference in this second half. 20 minutes to go then. We have seen absolutely nothing out of these boys in this half. So let's go and make a couple of changes. We're going to take off the 2 worst performers, which are Conor Gallagher. He's going to be replaced by Campbell, who will become a ball-winning midfielder on support. And then on the left wing, Basagog's going to come on for Edmonds again. I think we're going to have to rest him, get his fitness up, because he seems to be performing poorly as a result. He'll be a winger on attack. I'm not sure what else we can do, really. We've got a few average performers. Balogun's not having the best game, so maybe we think about bringing on either Preca or Wood. I'm not sure who's been starting this season. It's actually still Chris Wood. Chris Wood is still the man who's been starting, as is Preca. So they must have been playing 2 big men up front. But just over 10 to go, and it's really petering out here. I'm not quite sure why. We had the better of the first half, but this time we've had nothing going for us. So Balogun's going to come off. On will come, who's the best? Chris Wood, not great physically, but brilliant in the box. Preca, pretty much average all round. So I think we've got to go for Preca, have we? They've both scored 2 goals this season, so it makes no difference in that sense. Complete forward on attack. And let's see if we get a minute of magic here. We're going to go positive for the last few, just see if we can get further forward on the front foot. But it's Luton Town with a free kick here. Norris with a long ball forward. Intercepted by Jazarezinski. Out to Basagog, who keeps it in on the left wing. One more chance to nick a winner. Here he comes. Basagog beats 2 players into the edge of the box. Oh, good effort. Just over the bar. But into stoppage time we go at 0-0. And I think it's going to be 2 draws here. Jarozinski on the edge of the box. One last chance to cross. He's given it away with 10 seconds left. And Jason Cummins could spoil the party here. Oh, not like this, please. Downs 25 yards to McCarran. It's wide. Wow, we deserve to lose that there. It's 0-0 and that's how it'll finish. 2 draws to start our spell at Burnley. We stay unbeaten in 2 games on the road. We're disappointed with that second half performance. It really wasn't the best. I agree with Jody Morris. But we survive and it is 0-0. And we now get our first game at home against Crystal Palace. What that does mean is we stay in 21st place in the Championship table. But it's also tight there at the moment. Salford nicked to win at Blackburn actually. So doing okay without us now. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a few tweaks still to be made. But generally I'm still very positive because we look solid. We didn't really look threatened in terms of the goal there, bar that silly mistake at the end. So maybe we've just got to stop pushing late on. And I think we will drop to that balanced mentality now because it seems to suit Burnley better. Hopefully it'll keep the board happy as well. But for our first 2 games, we're unbeaten. It's not a disaster. I think we've now got a week off, which will be a big chance for us to work on the training ground, get this tactic going for us. So hopefully in the next time you see us, we'll be looking a bit better. So for the next episode, we're going to leave it a while for Burnley, try and get settled in, bring you back when we're starting to look like our sort of side again. What we're going to do in the meantime, though, is come back for Ireland, what will probably be our last game in charge. So we've got Russia and Israel in the November international break. The Israel one will decide who stays up in Division B, so that could be our moment, keep our reputation intact, and then we'll leave the Republic of Ireland. We'll see how Burnley goes in the way, but after that, the next episode with Burnley, we'll obviously catch up with the progress in November. Will be a massive one in January. So we're going to try and get through a whole month and a half of games after that. And we're going to come back for the reunion against Salford. It will prove whether we were right to leave or not. We're at home to Salford, our former club. Fingers crossed we'll be a bit closer to them in the table by then. And of course we'll have transfer deadline day as well. Our first one with our new director of football. I think that's going to be a cracking episode. Possibly one of the most dramatic of the series so far. And possibly the first moment where I really get egg on my face. So I'll wait and see what happens in that one. But in the meantime, of course, we will be back with that crucial Ireland game. If it's quick, we will try and make it a double header and show you a game from Burnley as well. But we'll, of course, catch up with our progress nonetheless. But thank you for joining me for our first 2 games at the new club. If you did enjoy them, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the performance, what things we can do tactically to improve. And we'll try and implement them over the next 2 or 3 months. There's still a long way to go, but I think once we get going, these lads will appreciate it. We've got the likes of Balogun who haven't even been playing, so we've got to bear that in mind as well. And I think eventually we will get there. If you haven't already and you want to keep up to date, please subscribe and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as every episode releases. Every day at 4:30 we've got new content. And we've also got an extra one at midday on Sunday from our FM20 network career. Thank you to everyone that supported the first episode of that last Sunday. And our new stadium review series continues on Sundays too. So thank you for those that have checked out the first 2. And there's a link to the playlist in the eye above if you haven't yet. But we'll be back tomorrow with our Dorking Wanderers series and possibly the biggest episode we've ever had in that one so far. And then in 2 days' time we'll have a crucial decider with Ireland before we're back to focusing on Burnley and a massive reunion against Salford. Thank you for watching this one as always, and hopefully I'll see you for all of those ones to come.